Because there's another class joining us, and in case they had to go to the classroom and forgot and walk over, we're going to try to make that a little less stressful for everybody. So just breathe. I know we're starting a few minutes late. Embrace the love. How are you? How's college? You're still here? Yeah, it's in my office. I'm 90% sure. I think it's your welcome to look and see what's behind my door. How's that? I do not make promises. Yes. Nope. Oh, you're right. I was thinking it's around. Oh, you don't. Do you have one? Yep. Yep. Same. Coach, if you're handing me a description of your project.
Yeah. sorry.
No, I didn't want to.
Anybody else need a program?
No, I do the same thing. If I know the names, I'm like, what's wrong?
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Extra credit or class credit? Awesome. And I'm Jill Adams. I teach English and Women's and Gender Studies here at Jefferson. And on behalf of our Women's Issues Network, the Women's and Gender Studies Certificate Program, all part of Women's History Month is, quite honestly, of Black history and people who don't usually. So Women's and Gender Studies. We had one reader who had a family emergency, women of Liberia. So if you are interested, we goes out to faculty. It just because that is the way this month has been. Or need a copy of the program, talking about things they have experienced. If you want to awareness gender studies, as well as the Multicultural Center, and with the support of the Black Student Union, we're sponsoring a screening of the documentary The Rape of Recy Taylor. Many of you may have it at her Golden Globe speech last 2:30 to 4:30. We would love to have you there if you can join us. That information is also on the back, so you have details. I give you women of peace, women of justice. Thank you.
I really love this women's studies class. Learning making changes today is so inspiring.
Mom, how can we possibly do more than work full time and try to spend
I know it seems like our plates are full, but I think about all these incredible women in the world. You know, we kicked off the semester watching the TED Talk, The Danger of a Single Story, by Nigerian writer Chimamanda Adichie. Do you, that's the one I forced you?
That's how they are, but it's not the whole story.
A bit more about her world, and she uses such a poignant of her. She's a passionate and skilled storyteller, as well as an outspoken feminist and advocate. I've been learning about other women you might be more familiar with, like Serena Williams.
Serena Williams.
Family known friends, I'm just Serena. My sister Venus and I trained for tennis since we were 3 years old. Named Biggest Puma. This is my fix I'm known for my tips. I just get my head in the game. When I focus on my competition, 18 grants, and vehemently denied these accusations. I was cost a point because these so-called coachings, and when I denied these so-called coaches, and when I denied them and expressed how upset I was that I was being accused of something that I did not do, I was penalized again. Collectively, 200 million hours a day collecting water. This is time that can be spent in a classroom getting an education. Getting your family water is important, but so is also getting an education. In addition to education, I'm a big advocate of health and wellness. Last year, I covered the Australian rock band Divinal's song, I Touch Myself, for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I definitely stepped out of my comfort zone to record the music video. But I wanted to do this to remind women to perform self-exams. It's every woman to be vigilant. But it's not just breast cancer we need to talk about. I have a history of blood clots, and after my daughter Olympia was born, I became one of approximately 50,000 women in pregnancy-related. Black women are disproportionately likely to face these complications. I refuse to be a medical statistic. I recognized my symptoms and advocated for myself in the hospital, demanding the treatment I needed. And sharing my story hopefully helps inform others and the medical community. I'm going to continue to play tennis and be an example for Olympia, my daughter. I'm Serena Williams, and this is my voice.
Wow, I love how radical she is without losing an ounce of style or class. Plus,
You want to hear about radical? Let me tell you about Audre Lorde. She was radical. She refused to be silenced at a time when voices like hers, black, lesbian, and feminist, were condemned and not really tolerated, much less heard. Hold on, I think.
R-E. In beginning to write, I didn't like that the why aesthetics are important in poetry. I began to write poetry almost as soon as I learned to write. I read it voraciously and memorized my favorite. Answer a question with a verse or reading were my escape. I was a very isolated child. My parents were distant and always busy with work, while my older sisters were two peas in a pod that I was somehow left out of. I was also considered legally blind from a young age. Throughout my writing, I explored themes of blackness, lesbianism, motherhood, class, and later in life, health. Imposed silence about any area of our lives is a tool for separation and powerlessness. And I celebrate all of my selves so that others can find their own selves. I want my writing to show that we need not be afraid of differences, that differences can be a creative force for change. My writing and activism has been at the forefront of Black feminist thought. I've worked to challenge and transform power relations. I am a Black feminist, lesbian, mother, poet, before intersectionality had a name. I also write a lot about sisterhood. Women should find common ground and support each other. Our combined experiences as women are what define womanhood and feminism. Visibility in my writing. In Sister Outsider, Essays and Speeches, I write about how important it is for marginalized groups to talk openly about their struggles in order to make them visible in an oppressive society. Writing was more than a choice or a vocation. It was a responsibility that was necessary for my survival and the survival of others. My entire life, I have been a staunch warrior against racism, homophobia of all forms, both at home and in the United States and abroad. In 1984, I worked with a group of Black German activists in the growing Afro-German movement. Not only did I make a convincing argument against violence in favor of the power of words, but I helped increase awareness of intersectionality across racial and ethnic lines in Germany. Throughout my days out for myself and others like me. Though I am gone, through my words I continue to live on and influence and inspire. It doesn't mean it's not scary. Silence will not protect you. And when I use my strength in the service of my vision, I learned from a personal hero.
I had a heart a few years later. I then moved with my two younger sisters to Memphis, where I worked and eventually in 1884, I was forcibly removed from a train car when I refused to give up my seat for a white passenger. I sued the train car company and won. Yet they appealed to a higher court. I incensed. This was a blow, or not just to my person, but to my people. This incident fueled my fire as a journalist, combating racial injustice on every street corner. Then in 1892, a friend of mine was lynched. I was enraged, and I wrote an additional editorial in my own newspaper exposing lynches for what they were. Poor excuses to kill black men and women. Reporting on the lynches of black men and women was the right thing to do, but it infuriated the local white population, and my newspaper office was burned to the ground. Luckily, I was in New York and escaped the mob. I doubled down on my journalistic efforts and became one of the first investigative journalists in history. I was known to show up at the scene of lynchings and ask questions to the idea that black people were violent criminals and uncovered a history of Southern white men raping. But with the help of other black women, we put mob violence brought to light the rape of black women. I was also a part of the suffragist movement, Illinois. I refuse to be segregated, so still a far way to go. How far we fight has sown the seeds of women today. Just look at Congress. There are now over 100 women and many women of color. It's gratifying to know we're finally getting closer to true representation. But I'll let them tell you about it. The 100 women elected in Congress in
2018, the year of the woman. 255 women ran for 117 won their elections for the chance to represent their states. There are 42 women who identified, including Marsha Blackburn in Tennessee, as well as Abby Finkenauer and Cindy Axney in Iowa. Davids and Debbie Howland for the elected to Congress. We are Alexandria Ocasio, Debbie Muscaro Powell, the first woman of Southern American descent. We are Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar, the first Muslim woman. We come to and include in our numbers Virginia Foxx and Kay Granger, Republican senators from North Carolina and Texas. First African-American woman to win Illinois' 14th Abigail Katie Hill and Sylvia Garcia, both Democrats, are the first Hispanic women elected to federal office by Texas voters, or where we are from, do have a place in the Capitol. We still got a long way to go, though. Congress is still, our numbers may not reflect a true representation. Our mothers with small children, for example. The Capitol has added baby changing tables in the members-only bathrooms, and considering possible changes to the working hours needed to be nothing less, regardless of the fact that majority of the House of Representatives are still white men. Our picture is one for hope for generations who might see themselves now and follow along in our past. We are shaking up the
Cortez, Ayanna Nature makes me want to stand up and fight off me, and she was so strong. Don't get to be strong unless it's said to do that.
Okay, Captain Marvel is cool.
We are the Black Mamba poachers who threaten our men, dedicated to protecting our community through environmental community. The Black Mamba are not only anti-poaching rangers, we are role models who cherish life and do not want, in addition, community in our children and nurture relationships with nations. Organization, there are different positions to play. There are armed units and patrol groups, but the majority of our work is through specific strategies for how visual patrols, which are conducted on foot, doing first observation and listening posts are stationed at critical and exit points are in the attempt to poach rhinos in our area. Roadblocks involve searching known and unknown vehicles for any illegal or suspicious items within the reserves are searched regularly to gather intelligence and ensure all reserve rules are being followed and regular sweeps are conducted throughout the reserve and neighboring tribal lands in search of snares. In this case, poachers kill the animals and destroy the ecosystem. We firmly believe that every individual has the responsibility to protect the planet as much as we can. After all, the planet provides for us everything we need to sustain life, clean gangs, and criminal activity. by showing them the dangers that poaching does to save them from a bleak future. Tourists mean more money in our community and more jobs. We are women like Blue Wind Mataya, who is only 26 years old. She loves nature and wanted to protect it. It's not easy work, and the pay isn't enough, frankly. It takes. Since the inception of the Black Mamba Project in 2013 in our area, there's been a 76% reduction in poaching. More than 1,000 snares found 20 kilometers per day, thanks to our efforts in 2015 by the United Nations. And we have earned other awards as well. Hopefully the awards bring more awareness and support of our work all over the world to be advocates for the environment. We hope you stand with us. Standing together, we can make change. The women of Liberia of peace stood against war and war.
Images of child soldiers and the nation. Our second civil war broke out in 2000, and in only 2 years over. As war raged, soldiers on both sides of the conflict looted and burned villages. We, the members of Liberia, Arlima Bowie, asked Christians from the president and in the thousands, sitting that read, "The women of Liberia say peace is our goal, peace is what matters." We presented a statement to President Taylor.
In an effort to make larger scale for my country in 2007 worldwide, you fight for it. I will continue to fight. I am.
Rigoberta has made strides for indigenous people worldwide. Oftentimes, though, the fight starts closer to home, and oftentimes it comes at you whether you're ready or not. Let's hear Lily Ledbetter's story.
Sexual harassment is okay. Both are about power. A company you may have heard of in my career. For the pay discrepancy on one. But Goodyear back into the Supreme Court to experience pay discrimination done. My experience and difficult. Hard work and determination. President Obama signed the Fair Pay Act. The act sought rule restricted the period for filing pay discrimination claims, making it more difficult for workers. Discrepancy could be filed without worry about time periods. I never received compensation from Goodyear, but this is bigger than money now. At this point, what can I say about me after and I think I cited the Lily Ledbetter Act and I was inducted into the
You know, it's a feminist that it changes the world.
Hearing these women also makes me realize
To do is to tell her over red and solid. Here's one of my favorite tweets. The hashtag women. Imagine the home or caregiving that global presence start individual choices. Each one person can make a difference. It's not just real people, it's people. There are important actions and resistance is taking place. Let's talk right now.
Here and right now is willing to stand up and stand up where you are. And I ended up.
Part of what WGS's which advocated anything between for and by myself. Impactful for
Had been done, it is the library, but the experience, you get to see like voice with, but it got picked up by not just JCTC, but KCTCS. They decided that they like the fact that we have brought on every campus in Kentucky and do it, I believe, every semester with like the Women and Gender Studies class. You see a lot, but yeah, it's a gathering.
a little bit shorter. I do a lot of education, a couple papers on it, made some pamphlets that we passed out last semester for our social justice. So I do a lot of talking about misogyny and rape culture in media. That been invited to some conferences to speak about it as well. So yeah, just your friendly neighborhood queer trying to help out.
Hi, my name is Louina Ingram. I am a student here at Jefferson. This is my fourth semester. Every woman that got up and spoke today, whether you were representing yourself, someone else, you did a phenomenal job. I too took Women and Gender Studies class with Professor Jill Adams and was a part of the, once again, I want to say Social Justice Project. And we did, one of the things that our group did focus on mental health about what if women chose not to be shock absorbers, you know? And a lot of times as women, our makeup is to talk about others and what's going on around you and on your job and your mental health. It's very near and dear to me. Sometimes even with school, exams, tests, and things, we actually have mishaps happening. Over the past 2 September 14th, and there's been a lot of, I wasn't for sure if I would be able to come to school this semester because I seem to be the only sibling that was flexible enough. If you know, I look at it like that in the sense that right now my husband has allowed me not to have to work while I'm in school. And I know my other sisters and stuff, they are, and I'm like, well, they need, you know, to take care of their bills, X, Y, and Z. I'll sacrifice myself in school. And I thank God for my husband. He's like, no, put yourself first, go to school, we'll manage and figure out, you know, dad's situation. So all that going hand in hand, it's very, very important that we take time to check on ourselves. Your mental state, you know, take time to breathe, take time to just get away and rebuild. So as women, I think the emphasis for myself and that I will pass on to others, and don't be fearful to check in with a therapist. There's nothing wrong with this, okay? Like, we need it. Absolutely, nothing to be ashamed of. It doesn't mean that you're crazy or anything. I mean, if you are, take some meds, whatever you got to do. It's all good. Just get the help that you need to be the best you that you can be, okay? And also, here's a plug for Christian Fellowship on Tuesday mornings from 8:30 to 9:30. We meet, and so, like I tell people to come through the halls at that time. If you need something that's going on with life or whatever, we're here to support you all the time, but especially Tuesday.
In one class or the other, and you really can't get out of one of my classes without me addressing LGBTQ plus issues, at least kind of on the fly. In our healthcare, you know, classes, we have to. We have to give appropriate care to anybody regardless. And so we talk about that, and we kind of talk about it in other classes too. And I think, you know, faculty are sometimes really reluctant to open up that door because they don't know what to do with it because they themselves aren't comfortable. And I think we just need to remember, just try, man. Just try. Instead of saying husband, wife, try saying partner. And at least, like I said, it just shows you're trying. Try to be cognizant of people's pronouns and what they prefer, and how they are presenting, what they wish to be. It's not that complicated. It doesn't take that much. I'm one of those bad professors at cussing class, so just don't be an asshole. I mean, at the end of the day, that's all it comes down to. You know, that's it. And I wish we had more real discussions. Because that's the only way we're going to get anything solved, is to meet people where they're at. I'm saying our healthcare classes, there can be lots of confusion, so we get it out. What you want to know. We were having this conversation, Nasha was in one of my pharmacy techs last week. So, but I'd rather you have that conversation with me and other people before you get out with a real transgender patient or someone who's non-binary, and then you mess up. So whatever crap questions you got, let's get them answered. And if I don't have the answer, I'll find somebody that's got an answer.
What are you involved in? What are you interested in? What does Jefferson need to talk about or have stuff about? What do we need to make happen?
These damn tiny.
Amen.
I mean, for real.
Better furniture.
The fact that it took me and my roommates 2 days and a lot of research in order to justify where to file a complaint.
For something happening on campus?
Yes.
Got it. If something is happening on campus, and et cetera, Title IX protects you as students. Dr. Laura Smith is the type of holler, so if as needed. That goes for all of you. I did not put the Title IX information on the program.
I can get it to you too, Keely.
Yeah, you can email laura.smith at kctcs.edu if you haven't gotten anything up. Thank you. Which is also like note to self, like the website needs to be more student friendly and actually helpful, not just a list of stuff that you can't find. Okay. Oh my goodness. It was supposed to have been fixed a year ago. So I am now going to yelling and making things happen stage. So if anybody else, 100 people, great. Thank you. Yeah, that is happening. Yeah, I'm just gonna start walking them around and leave them in the bathrooms again. Bathroom sit-in. Oh, a bathroom sit-in. I think it needs to be like a president's office sit-in.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Students are geniuses. This is so being filmed awesome.
Connected to the bathroom issue, and there may be one on campus, but I'm unaware of it. Is there non-binary bathrooms anywhere on campus?
There are two that I'm familiar with. There's one on the bottom level, right in the near where the cafeteria deli area is. There's one at the bottom of those stairs that has finally been unlocked so that people can use it. And a couple of the bathrooms in the library on the second floor are gender neutral.
Yeah.
That just say restroom.
Well, but is that one accessible for handicapped people?
The library, the library ones are, and is the one in Chestnut Hall. Yes, yeah, but again, this does not fix the problem. Yeah. What else do you need? What else are you doing? What is her Hillary raising? Because I'm good. Yes, please.
I suppose, I mean, I'm in the military. I feel like, I mean, it's not official or anything, but, you know, I feel like most of the interactions that I have, 8 times out of 10 are usually with a male, and, like, that culture is generally kind of, like, terrible. So I think, like, I don't know, just within my unit, I'm not allowing people to make embarrassing jokes or, you know, I don't know. Sorry.
No, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you.
Interested about any of the stories, people, or issues that have come up today, I will recommend take sociology classes, take anthropology classes, take women's and gender studies classes. Like, go learn more. Plus, you get to connect with other people who are also interested in learning. And as Ben and several other people said, like, that sense of community can make a big difference. My contact information is on the back of the program. If you read... All right, happy Women's History Month. Finish your semester. Don't leave.
Meet me in the hallway.
I'm studying.